Hey, what's up, guys? It's Dr. Steve here, and this is another Tuesday night edition of the All In Teams Hangout. And I want to thank you for joining us tonight. It's Tuesday night, it's 9 o'clock Eastern. There's probably lots of other things that you could be doing right now, including watching soccer, if that's your thing, or doing something else productive. But you're here with us, and we appreciate it. We know that you can be doing other things, but that's why we keep these things to 30 minutes so you can be productive and efficient with your time. Come in, get the nuggets that we're going to drop on you, and then go about it and implement what you learned. So, as always, I am joined by my two favorite superstars, Cheryl Samit, the supermom, and Simon Cornelius, the Simon, what's your official title? Is it the? You tell me what your official title is.
I think it's the lazy ninja.
The lazy ninja.
I used
I
to have
thought
a
you were like,
boss.
are
Yeah,
you
I
a
used to
debt
have a boss
or
that
something?
said,
Doesn't your title have to do with debt or something like that?
yeah, that's in one of my previous webinars that we had. I was the guy that epitomized debt, how to get into debt, how to create 6 figures of debt. And
Ah,
so
I
I asked,
got you.
how do you get into 6 figures of debt so quick? It's actually pretty easy.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
sure
not
you
going to expand on that tonight.
No, let's not talk about that tonight. Tonight we're going to talk about something better. We're going to talk about something more important. And I sent out a bunch of invitations to this, and in that invitation to this event, I talked about what we're going to be discussing tonight as possibly the number one most important thing in an individual's success or failure, not just in business but in life. And what that is mindset.
Right.
Mindset. So, just the term mindset can be misleading, but what that really means, what mindset is it's how you think about things. It's the words you use when you're talking to yourself and the things you say. We've covered this in other webinars, like words, be careful about what you say, like saying things like can't and try and things like that. That's all related to mindset. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And don't think that this is not important. Don't think, oh, they're not giving me any training, they're not giving me any how-tos. This is the most important training that you're going to listen to, because without the right mindset, this right here is going to be your biggest obstacle. It's going to be your biggest roadblock. And I have some stories related to this, and I know you guys do too. So we're going to kind of go around the table tonight talking a little bit about the importance of mindset. When we figured out that mindset was the key element missing in our evolution and our progress, and what that's done for us since. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight, and I hope you guys stay tuned, take notes, and think about if any of the stuff that we're talking about applies directly to you, because I have a feeling it will. Because if you haven't addressed this aspect of your business or your life, it's going to affect you. It's going to be relevant to you, and you're going to be able to relate to it. So with that being said, we're just going to dive right in. And Cheryl, I'm going to go to you because I'm chivalrous like that, and I love the ladies first. And since there's two of you ladies, it's like a double whammy tonight. So let me just start by asking you, like, what does mindset mean to you? And just when did you figure out that you needed to start going to work on this? Like, this was something that was missing in your development, your progress.
Hey, thanks, Dr. Steve, and I want to thank all of our viewers out there tonight. And you just introduced my other little lady friend. This is Miss Morgan. She's my daughter, one of my reasons I'm a super mom. So, hello. But my mindset for me is really about the self-talk, the thoughts that come into my head when I enter into a situation or hear a particular word or hear somebody say something that I'm like, oh, well, this is my reaction to it. Mindset, to me, is about training yourself to regulate that self-thought, the self-talk and the thoughts that pop into your head when you hear certain words or enter certain situations. What got me started on the path to changing my mindset was actually one of our favorite topics and favorite seminar hosts that we've mentioned before in other webinars, or at least I have, and that's Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by t.harv. In his Millionaire Mind intensive training that I went through, he walked us through different exercises to identify what our mindset was, what our current mindset was at that moment. And for me, I had a lot of I guess, self-doubt and like insecurity happening around money and just my life in general. And that was really startling to me because I consider myself a positive person, a very encouraging person. I'm always like, yeah, you can go do it. You can do it. I wasn't telling that to myself, though. So being able to identify that negativity that was going on in my own head, but wasn't necessarily showing itself on the outside, was a huge breakthrough for me to figuring out what I can do to fix that.
And it's funny that you mentioned the Millionaire Mind Intensive, because we were kind of talking about this off the air before we started the hangout, and that's where it happened for me too. That's where I had my first breakthrough in personal development and mindset, and realizing that we oftentimes we do this and we point the finger at everything and everybody else, when that finger really needs to be turned around, and we need to take a good hard look in the mirror at ourselves and the words that we use and the way we think about things. Now, Simon, I know you were going to kind of bring this up too, so I'm going to throw it at you. I guess just the same questions, like what is mindset? When you hear the word mindset, what does mindset mean to you? The importance of mindset, and when did you first figure out, maybe it was at an MMI also, but when did you first figure out that your mindset needed a little tweak.
Okay. Well, on that note, it's funny we talk about the MMI, and my background is or was as an engineer. Corporate America, a logical guy. I was the how-to guy. Give me some nuts and bolts. But like I say, I started off many years ago, and probably some of you have joined like the Amways of the world in network marketing. Brilliant profession, by the way. And I never seemed to do too well in it because it made sense logically. Who wouldn't want to buy stuff for themselves and tell other people, and everyone buys stuff from their own business? It makes a whole lot of sense to me as an engineer. But why is it that I never made more than, I don't know, a couple of $100 in my first year? It didn't make sense. It made so much sense, but it didn't make any sense. And what I found is that maybe I didn't really believe it. And I said, well, of course I believe it. It makes complete sense. Doesn't make sense. But I didn't believe in myself. And I didn't believe that it would work for everybody, just the 1% of people. And it wasn't until, I don't know when it was, but many years, it may be in the MMI, but maybe there's all the self-development books I've been reading over the years. And then the MMI really boiled it down to 4 words that I'll share with you. So if you have a pen and paper, write down these 4 letters: T-F-A-R. T-F-A-R. What this means is that everything that you think about, that's the T, what you think about determines how you feel about something. That's the F. And how you feel about something is how you act. So it produces the actions, and then the actions produce the results. Well, if you have a crappy mindset, right, there's like the T is really bad, it's really crappy, then you're going to have some bad feelings about it, like you don't believe in yourself. And so therefore the actions that you have, they really aren't congruent to where you really want to be. So you got crappy thoughts, crappy actions, crappy thoughts, crappy feelings, crappy actions, you get crappy results, and you quit because, well, that didn't work. Well, it didn't work because you, or in that case me, it didn't work. But when I started to change the way I thought about things in the beginning, like money, like Dr. Steve mentioned before, yeah, I was way into 6 figures in debt. But when I changed how I thought about money, how I thought about money management, that changed my results. Because you change the thoughts in the beginning, it has to change the results. Does that make sense? We'll get more into this later on, but I think probably I'll put it down to the MMI. It was the best. God, I think it was free when I went, but the best 3 days of my life, I think.
Yeah. And I'm so glad you kind of mentioned that TFAR, Simon, because I just wanted to share a little story, like just a quick example. Imagine you're sitting at a traffic light, guys, and a really expensive car pulls up next to you, and the guy or the gal who's driving it has their arm out the window, and you can tell they're wearing a really, really expensive watch, and they're dressed really nicely, and you can tell they're very well to do, right? They're affluent, they have a lot of success and wealth in their life. Now, how you think about that person, you might immediately come to some decision or some judgment about them. How
Mm-hmm.
you think about them is mindset. And now think about this for a second. If you resent that person, if you're envious of that person, if you resent that person, if you think they're, if you use the words filthy, rich, stinking rich, if your mind relates that sort of wealth and success to a negative feeling, like Simon said, a negative thought, a negative feeling, a negative emotion, your subconscious is never going to allow you to achieve wealth and success because you have equated a negative feeling, a negative emotion to that level of success that you very well want. But you're jealous, you're envious of that person, and therefore you resent them because they have what you want. But inside, in your mindset, you're connecting a negative emotion to something that you actually want. But your brain will never let you have it until you change your mindset. So instead of judging that person or envying or resenting that person, you should be saying, wow, what an awesome car that is. I would love to drive that car. It must be so much fun to drive that car. Look at that beautiful watch he's wearing, she's wearing. You don't resent them. You admire them because they've achieved what you want. There are always going to be people in life that have what you want, that you haven't reached that status yet. But if you resent them, if you connect a negative feeling to it, it's never going to happen to you. And that's probably the biggest example I can give of the power of mindset. You can self-sabotage yourself without even knowing it because you're resenting what someone else has because you don't have it.
And
So,
just to interject there, Steve, is
yeah,
now that you know what you know now, like if you were to drive by and you saw a really nice car, maybe it's the Ferrari 450. I know you like Ferraris, right?
I do.
And there's this person driving the car, and they have the window down at the stoplight, and they look over. What do you say to that person? Just curious.
My first words are nice car, man. Like nice car.
Yeah. And what's the
And
next
that's how I
question?
start. I give them a compliment because they deserve it.
Yeah.
They deserve what they have. Most people, because of all the media and all the negativity that's out there, they probably just assume this person, oh, they're crooked, they're a thief,
Right.
they're, a lawyer
Uh-huh.
that bilks people. And that's where people's minds go. But instead, I choose to compliment them. I say, wow, that's a really nice car. So
And
I
then
love
question
Ferrari.
number two is what?
I'm sorry?
Question number two.
Question number two, how long have you had it? How much fun is it to drive? Is it
Okay,
a
on question
stick?
number three.
Oh, well, it depends on how much time I have. I can ask all kinds of questions. First of all, I'm a
Can
car
I
guy.
take
But second of all,
a
I
ride?
love, yeah, can I get a ride? That would be a good question.
I was thinking more along the lines of what do you do? I do that to people now.
Yeah, at an intersection, I probably wouldn't start that conversation. But if I was in a parking lot, if I pulled up to a Starbucks and there was a guy getting in or out of a Ferrari, and I had the opportunity to start that conversation, I definitely would ask the "What do you do?" question because I would
Right.
like to know what this person did to achieve that level of success. They're driving the car that I want. How did they get it? How did they make it happen? But not in an envious or resentful way. In an I want to learn more about how you
Mhm.
achieve that level of success. What
Exactly.
vehicle, no pun intended, that they use to get where they are right now.
Because success leaves clues, doesn't it? You just have to ask,
That's right.
right? And it's a really
You
good point. And you can be envious and say, "Oh, they're so lucky. Who do they have to rip off? What kind of
Right.
scam artist are they?" And then you'll be driving around in your beaten up old Chevy for the rest of your life, complaining that your car keeps breaking down all the time,
Yep.
right? Good point. Good story.
And there's a lot of examples of that, like how your mindset, you don't even realize it. And Cheryl, I'm not going to say this about you, but I'm going to use my wife as an example because I know females are so guilty of this. But like when it comes to appearances, right? Weight, their outfit, my hair, that's all mindset too, right? It's putting so much emphasis on what other people think that you'll change your outfit 6 times, or I can't wear this, does my butt look big in this? It's all mindset, right? And again, I'm not pointing the finger at you, Cheryl. I'm just using an example, and I'm wondering if you have any other examples of how mindset influences what we do, how we act, what we say, and then oftentimes, like Simon said, the actions lead to our results. So I'll just kind of open-end it to you and throw it at you there.
That's really funny that you talk about the hair and the outfit and everything, because I have done that. I've changed shirts 3 times, changed shorts 4 times because it didn't make me feel right. Or, I walk out of my closet and I go and look in the mirror and I'm like, ooh, I don't like how I look in that. Oh my gosh. But you know what? I'm here when I do videos. And I guess this is an example of how I have changed my mindset over time with regard to my videos and putting myself out there. I'm here on this hangout. This is how I change my clothes and put my hair up when I get home from the office. And so this is like the real me. And I found that people really respond to the real me. You saw my kids, you heard my dogs, you heard all this real stuff happening. And once I realized that people want to connect with who I really am. People want to connect with the mom who has her hair pulled back and her kids running around. Once I realized that, I changed my mind about how I appear on video. And of course, I still want to look good. I mean, everybody wants to look good, getting all vocal and shit, whatever. But I do realize now, and I've changed my mind about how I appear and how real I talk. I used to not let my accent show. I'm from South Alabama, LA, Lower Alabama, town of 10,000 people, and I didn't let my accent come out for the longest time, and it probably still isn't 100% out when I talk to y'all, but when I talk to my family on the phone, you could really hear it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But again, that's another mindset thing. That's appearances. That's I'm no longer concerned about how I'm perceived, because this is the real me.
And
That's it. It's a big shift for me.
I don't know if you caught that, Cheryl, but I'm sure Simon did. But 2 times during that dialogue that you just had, you said changed my mind twice. Twice you said it. And you may have done it deliberately, you may have done it subconsciously, but that's exactly what we're talking about tonight, is you're changing the way you think about stuff, changing the way you look at things, right? And, another example I'll give is, when we go to the store sometimes, or here's an even better one, the restaurant. When you're at the restaurant, which column do you look at first? Because a lot of times people will go immediately to the right side where all the prices are, and sometimes they'll get angry that stuff is expensive. Like they see the word market price and they don't even ask. Why? Because they've associated a thought with that phrase that says, I can't afford that. I can't have that, right? It's off limits for me because it's market price, that's not for me. That is more self-limiting talk, more self-limiting thoughts. That is just another real-world example of when you're in a restaurant, and you can actually, sometimes people actually get emotional, they get angry, right? They take it out on the waitress, they're just not polite. They're not yelling at the waitress about the price, but maybe they're just not polite because it just kind of, like Simon said, your thoughts lead to your feelings, lead to your actions, right? So the way you think about that leads to the way you feel about that, leads to the way you act about that, and sometimes you take it out on the poor waitress. So that's just another example of, because mindset, you guys that are watching this, you might not think that mindset plays a role. I'm just giving you different examples of real-world stuff that happens to us every day where our mind takes over and it affects what happens. And there's just so many of those. And Simon, I don't know if you've thought about some other ones. You're the big money guy, but a lot of times I think people's biggest self-limiting thoughts have to do with money, right? I can't afford that. I don't make that much, or I want to do this vacation, but I can't. We actually did another hangout just about this, didn't we? About vacations and about being able to afford a vacation and saving up all year long because they don't think that there's any other way they can do it. Don't think, right? Mindset. So I don't know if you have any other examples or stories. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm just going to kind of turn it over to you and see if you want to elaborate on that at all.
The thing, it's funny. Like when he talked about the restaurant menu, which side we go to. First of all, for me, it's the menu. It's the dessert side. Right? And why not? That's kind of the way I think. Like, hey, if I want some dessert, let's just have dessert first. What the heck?
Yeah.
Dessert, then a salad, then a main course, more dessert. No, it's like a buffet. But That's just the way I think. It's different now. But you're right. It's can we afford to go out? Can we afford the steak or is it the hamburger? And it's I've heard someone else say like the hamburger mentality. Because it used to be steak and lobster mentality, and I apologize if you're a vegetarian, but like you got the steak mentality and the hamburger mentality, right? But instead of saying, well, I can only afford this, it's how can I afford the steak and lobster? How can I afford the whatever dish that you would really love to have? How can I afford that? And then you start to ask different questions and you start to get different answers. So to me, one of the big keys is asking yourself empowering questions. The more powerful the questions, like how can I afford this? What did this person do in order for them to be able to drive a Ferrari 458, right? What did they do? Not versus, well, I hate that person because they're rich, because they have a car that's so obnoxious, right? It's you ask these questions, how can I afford this? What do these people do? And in fact, I was listening just this morning to watching a video by Holton Bucks, and I'd never heard of the guy. Steve or Cheryl, do you know Holton Bucks? Does that name ring a bell?
No.
Nope. I think he's from, I want to say Houston, but anyway, he makes about somewhere about, well, I think he paid in taxes last year 4.5 million in taxes.
Yeah, that's the he's the organo gold god, right?
I think maybe, yeah. So he was on there for like so
I
almost
think
two
so.
hours, but the guy was captivating, and he had no notes, and not, his whole theme was mindset. It's all about not what will people think of me, but it's about helping other people. And why can't you make when $10,000 a month, making 10,000 a month is a big thing to many people. I mean, it's no small change. But then he started to change his mindset. Well, if I can make $100,000 a year, and Bob Proctor talks about this a lot. If I can make $100,000 a year, why can't I make $100,000 a month?
Mm.
Okay, now, and most people that they can't get their minds around making what they make in a whole year, making 1 month. But go figure this. How about making $1 million a month? Just for a second, just think about that. Do you think it's possible to make at least $1 million per month every single month for an entire year? Be honest with yourself. I mean, for me, truthfully, it's a little outside, okay, a lot outside of my comfort zone. I've never made $1 million a year. I'm getting there, but to make $1 million a month, it's mind-boggling. But it used to be that I would never think about making $1 million a month because it's so far outside of my comfort zone. I've known nobody who's done this. Um, but Holton Bugs, look him up on YouTube, HOLTONBUGGS.
Yeah.
Maybe he's the coffee guy, but he's all about mindset. He doesn't really have the how-tos. It's more the mind, and I think he was an engineer in a previous life. But he talks about mindset all the time. So to the whole essence of this call here tonight is work on your mindset, and $1 million a month is extremely possible. True or true?
Yeah, and like you said, Simon, success leaves clues, right? You've got one of the biggest earners in network marketing talking for 2 hours about mindset, and here we are spending 30 minutes talking about it. There's a reason. There's a reason for that. And as you said, a lot of times, and I think a lot of the people that are on this hangout tonight are involved with network marketing or some sort of home-based business. And you said something that resonated with me that I want to kind of touch on because a lot of people focus on me, right? When they're building their business, well, I need to make this much money. I need to recruit this many people. I need to sell this many products. But what you said was if you focus on helping other people do that, you will ultimately do that, right? And that's also a mindset thing too. It's thinking
Mhm.
about things differently. Instead of focusing on yourself, you focus on helping others. And guys,
Right.
that's what we're talking about. We're talking about thinking about things differently because your results, where you are right now, today, is a result of your best thinking.
Mhm.
Your thoughts, your thinking, and the actions related to those thoughts have gotten you right where you are today.
Mm-hmm.
And in order for change to come about, change needs to happen in you. In order for different results to come about, you need to start taking different action. And as Simon said, your thoughts and your feelings lead to your actions. But what's first? Your thoughts are first. Mindset. So whether it's, getting started in a business for the first time, you need to make a decision. Making a decision has to do with your mindset. It's telling yourself, I can do this. Because if you genuinely don't believe that you can do something, why would you even get started? If
You're,
you
you're
if you
absolutely right. If you can't
yeah,
believe it, you're right.
if you can't believe it, it's never going to happen. Like you said, Simon, if $1 million a month is probably outside of most people's beliefs, most people's comfort zone, and therefore they'll probably never achieve that.
Right.
But even making a simple decision like, well, yeah, this is the business that I'm going to get started, and making that decision, you have to believe that it can work for you. Not just that it can work for you, but that you will make it work for you. So there's a commitment to it also, which is also mindset. It's saying, well, I'm not just going to try this and see how it goes. This is what I've chosen to do. I'm making a decision to get started, and I'm going to commit to make it work. I'm going to commit not to give up. That's all mindset, guys. It's all mindset. It's the way you think about stuff.
I've got a really quick story to share. Since we're on
Yep.
on the topic of network marketing, we only have a few minutes left. There's a gentleman I used to be involved with a network marketing company. An older gentleman, really nice guy to be around. Never really made more than about $1,000 a year. Well, he called me up about 6 months ago, and I'm not in his business, but he called me up a few months ago and asked me to go. Do I keep my options open? So okay, sure. I'd like to hear what's going on with people. Well, he's been in this business too, I think maybe 90 days. He pulls out in a brand new luxury car that's paid for by the company that he's with. It's network marketing. And here's a guy that's never made more than $1,000 in a year. He's probably 65, 70. And he's driving about in this brand new car that's paid for by the company. I'm like, well, what happened there? And it's all about the mindset. He did nothing for years, and all of a sudden, he just got it. Driving about in a $40,000 car, $50,000 car within 90 days.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's just a switch. It's just a switch that has to go off, and you realize all of a sudden this has been your biggest obstacle. That's been your biggest roadblock, and that's why this is so important. And I hope you guys that are listening, that are watching this hangout, whether you're watching it live or watching the recording, understand how important what we're talking about is. The way you think about things is so important. So, Cheryl, the men have been monopolizing the conversation for a while, so I'm going to throw it back to you. We have about 3 minutes left, so just kind of share any final thoughts or comments you have on this subject, and let her rip.
Yeah, I actually connected with something that Simon said that you said earlier about being hanging around people, hanging around successful people, and this was something that Aaron Rashkin on our call last night touched on. Was he was actually sabotaging himself throughout high school, throughout life, because so that he would not be successful, and therefore he would be accepted by the people that he hung around who were not successful. When I heard this, I was like, oh my gosh, it completely reminded me of the statement, you are the average, or you have the average income of the 5 people that you hang around most. So if you want to work on your mindset and you want to increase your chances of success in life, in business, your family, whatever, get around people that have what you want and be around them, talk to them, listen to how they speak, find out what they read. Readers are leaders. So, find out what they do, what they're involved in, and just immerse yourself in that lifestyle so that you have that mindset automatically programming into your brain from just being around the successful people that you want to be like. So that's one point I wanted to bring up. And then I also wanted to reiterate about, I have my notes here on my phone, and he talked about on the call last night, Aaron Rashkin again, talked about framing your statements of what you want. Frame your statements as wants versus what you don't want. And I've been a fan of this for years. Once I heard that the universe does not respond to the word not, or don't, or never, or can't, I stopped using those words, because you will get what you don't want, because all the universe hears is what comes after the word don't or
Yep.
not.
Yep.
And this has been totally true in my life, personal experience. Not going to go into that on this hangout, maybe another one. But frame your statements as what you want. Like, I want to be successful so that I can live in that beach house that I saw when last time I was down in Florida, and have a great life, live the life of my dreams. That has a really high energy, right? Versus, I want to be successful because I hate my job. That's something you don't want. You don't want your job if you're starting a business and you're working to be successful in that business. A much lower energy. Right. So stay on the high energy path and frame your statements with what you want.
Yeah, and both of those examples, Cheryl, and I was thinking it too when I was listening to that call, both of those examples are mindset. The first one was self-worth, right? He was doubting his self-worth, so he was therefore again, sabotaging himself. And the second one, thinking about how you say things. There's, I know we're going to run a couple minutes long here, but I just want to share another story. I used to play golf a lot, and one of the things I used to do all the time was when I was on the golf course and I had to hit over a body of water, in my head I was saying, don't hit it in the water, don't hit it in the water, don't hit it in the water. But what are the last three words that my brain hears? In the water. What did I do almost every time? Bloop, I plunked it right in the water. But I changed the way I thought about that, and I said, hit it on the green, hit it on the green, hit it on the green, right? And just by changing that, you're changing the way you think about things. That's all mindset. This is another real life example of how you think about things makes such a huge, huge difference. And Simon, just real quick, I'm going to throw it to you. Do you, any parting thoughts or comments you want to share before we wrap this thing up?
Yeah, I just have to agree with both of you about that. About the way that you phrase the phraseology is the way I've heard it before. Focusing on what you want versus what you don't want. And yeah. I've got a book here, but I won't even talk about it this time. In fact, this is book here. Can you see that? The Law of Attraction, just so happens to be next to by Michael Lozier. It's a quick read. It's only like 120 pages, and it's a really easy read. And it's the science of attracting more of what you want and less of what you don't want. I mean, I didn't plan this. It was sitting here, and it's all about what we've done tonight. And you can buy this like 10, 15 bucks on Amazon. It's a paperback, The Law of Attraction. Go check it out at your library. Buy it through Kindle, wherever. Read that. And it's a really good book. My life coach recommended that to me last year. And it's like, I did the exercises. I went through it a few times. I tell you guys, that book will help you tune up your stinking thinking to help you focus on what you want and help you become more of what you really want to be versus what you don't want to be. Okay? So that's my 2 cents is manage your thoughts, which will impact your feelings about something, which will impact the actions you take, which of course impacts the results you want. The choice is yours. Stinking thinking, crappy results, excellent thinking, better results. That's it.
Yeah, and guys, if the only thing we did tonight was help you understand, connect the dots between your thoughts and your results, then we accomplished our mission tonight, because we want you to flip the switch and just understand that the way you think about things are affecting the results that you're getting. So make sure you take the time, even do it right after we get off this hangout or right after you're done watching the recording of this hangout. Take the time to reach out to the person that invited you here tonight and talk to them about it. Talk to them about how you can flip your thinking, or tell them you are going to flip your thinking. Make a decision to get started with something if you haven't already. Make a decision to commit. Start respecting people that make money. Don't resent them. Change the way you think about things. Put a positive spin on everything that you think. Put a rubber band around your wrist and snap it every time you have a negative thought. And your results are going to change. I promise you your results will change because they are related to your thoughts. And when you change your thoughts, your results will change too. So That's it, guys. Just thanks so much again for joining us on Tuesday night. We ran a few minutes long. No big deal. Every Tuesday night at 9 o'clock, the All In Hangout. Join us for it. Otherwise, we will see you next week. Have an awesome week, guys. Have some positive thoughts and some positive results, and we'll see you next time.
Cheerio.
Peace.
Bye.